Hi, everyone. It's enough already. I'm Fingers. She's Tracy. I'm not in quarantine anymore. Tracy, can I tell you about my week?
Please.
I feel like we're one of these radio teams where we don't say, geez, we don't talk anymore. Tell me about your day. That doesn't happen with us, and that's good. So thank you for letting me share. So, as you know, and those who listen to Enough Already on Apple Podcasts and where all fine podcasts are sold, or watching us over at the YouTube or BitChute, I went to the Conservative Political Action Conference at the end of February. A good time was had by some, and I left, and I thought everything was fine. Saturday, March 7th, which was a full week after I left the conference, news broke that there was an attendee at CPAC who tested positive for the coronavirus, who was actually showing symptoms of the coronavirus, Tracy. I believe the last day he was there, got tested, found out that he had it, obviously had it before he attended the conference. And we always have the one person in our lives, you know, the one that always has to try to deliver the breaking news to you. Tracy, do you have that one person that hits you up, says, you won't believe what happened? Well, that happened to me while I was furniture shopping. It's a Saturday night. I'm furniture shopping because I know how to party. And so immediately, 10 minutes after I find out that someone tested positive for the coronavirus at CPAC, I'm starting to have symptoms. Because I'm a hypochondriac.
Yes.
So I'm walking around thinking, oh, I'm getting dizzy. Am I going to pass out like that Chinese security guard that was walking down the street? The video footage that was shared all over Twitter that probably wasn't a Chinese security guard during the coronavirus. That video footage. So in my mind, racing is just racing with different scenarios of how I have the coronavirus, and I'm feeling a tickle in my throat. It's scratchy. There it began. Gonna die. All gonna die. So I get home. This is a Saturday night. I have a minor, very minor surgical procedure scheduled for Monday. And being I am a very thoughtful person, a very courteous person, a very considerate person, I thought to myself, maybe you should find out whether or not you should cancel this procedure, because knowing your luck, you probably have the plague. And you don't want to expose medical staff unnecessarily for a procedure that can easily be put off. I've put it off for 48 years, Tracy.
Good for you. What's another couple months?
Right? I won't go into it, what procedure it was, other than the day before the procedure, I would have to drink a lot of stuff that would make me not feel so well. So why go through that procedure, or the process to prepare for the procedure, only to be turned away the morning of? Because you know, Tracy, that is going to be one of the top 3 questions asked whenever you go into any doctor's office or hospital. The question will be, do you think you have been exposed to the Wuhan flu?
The Wu flu.
The Wu flu. Racist. So anyway, of course, it's Saturday night, so I cannot get a hold of anyone at the doctor's office. I get on my little health network. You know how they got these health networks now. You know, my doctor's affiliated with this big corporate health network, and the health network, they have a 1-800 number for the coronavirus. Not the coronavirus can't call the 1-800 number. It's for questions about.
So it answers the 1-800 number.
It was 1-800 Corona.
Really?
The ghost of Miss Cleo answers the phone. It's amazing. You kids under 40 ask Jeeves, Miss Cleo. So anyway, I go ahead there and I call the number and I say, listen, fine folks at the Corona virus hotline. I just shortened coronavirus to coronas. That's what I did there.
Look at you.
This is my situation. My parents went away on a week's vacation. No, I didn't say that, but I could have. And again, the person would have to Google that if they were under the age of 40. So the lovely nurse practitioner on the other end of the line, I'm calling early on. This is Saturday. This stuff's really not hitting the fan yet. This is Saturday, March 7th. She said, "Oh, I got to put you on hold. Hold on. No music at all."
Oh, I want the Knack My Sharona playing on a loop.
Right?
Yes.
They've thrown this all together quickly to where there's no hold music. So I'm sitting there. Okay, I'm not going to have to do this thing on Monday. And she comes back and proceeds to kiss my ass like it's never been kissed before. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Malloy, for calling and letting us know about this. Yes, by all means, we're going to cancel that procedure. And oh, by the way, lock yourself in a room for 7 days and keep yourself away from society. What? No, that wasn't part of the gig. I didn't want to expose anyone. Do you realize it was one person out of 15,000 people that were at this conference that tested positive? Yes, I understand, but boy, we're really trying to keep this out of Indiana. So, yeah, you're going to have to lock yourself in your house. And if there's anyone in your house that lives with you, they need to stay away from you and stay out of that room. And you need to have a separate bathroom that nobody else uses. And if you have a house pet, keep that house pet away from you. What? Oh, keep your house pet? My goldfish could get killed by the coronavirus? That's what you're telling me? Well, no, I'm not saying that. But if you have a cat, keep the cat away. Oh, I don't have a cat. Cats are terrible. But okay, thank you. And I hang up. Well, that sucks. I got to lock myself in a room. So I've got, we do the show, and I built a sunroom / radio studio in the back of my house. I threw an air mattress in the room, and all I need to make this a complete bachelor pad is a mini fridge and a hot plate. I go to bed. The next day, my phone is blowing up, Tracy. It's an infectious disease specialist on the phone. Oh, Mr. Malloy, got word that the health department in Washington, D.C. told you that there was someone at the event you were. No. The American Conservative Union, who runs CPAC, sent us an email stating that one person in a conference of 15,000 tested positive for the coronavirus. Oh. Well, this may seem like overkill, but yeah, we're going to continue the self-quarantine. And oh, by the way, I notified the county health department. Are you fucking kidding me? So that's what I've been doing for the past week. The quarantine was officially lifted at midnight. So now I'm free to leave, Tracy. And now it was 50 degrees, 60 degrees all week, a little bit of rain here and there. And now I can leave, and it's damn near a blizzard in central Indiana right now. So I've got that going for me. So my good luck continues, Tracy. How was your week?
It was good. I'm an optimist, unlike you. And look at the difference in our outcomes. Oh, I decided not to go to CPAC because I didn't want to introduce 15,000 people to myself because of this. And we've been paying attention to this, for a month and a half now?
Yes.
Miles ahead of the mainstream media, I might say. So both of us are totally prepped. Neither one of us expected to go into quarantine. But yeah, I mean, thinking about the pessimist, optimist lines, I've been seeing all the stories that are bubbling up on social media. It seems to be driven by the pessimistic crowd.
Yes.
So it's the worst of the worst. I can't remember exactly how they headlined this article the other day from the LA Times, but it was trending on Twitter. It's like, I'm an American and I'm quarantined in Italy and it's horrendous. Like, I don't remember what adjective they used, but it was like, it's god awful. It's the end of the world. And I read the piece and it doesn't sound that bad at all. He's like, we're all kind of just sticking to ourselves, or the neighbors are talking to each other through different chat apps. Like everybody's taking care that people have enough of what they need. And, but the news wants to be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. Italy's totally shut down. Well, it just so happens that in my business, we have two big vendors, one of whom is in China and one of whom is in Italy. So I've taken it upon myself to reach out to our Italian guy because we had a business call with him on Thursday, conference call. And mind you, he's in the industrial north, which was the first part of Italy that got shut down. And he's been sending out emails updating all of their customers on what's going on at their factories. And they're a fairly large company. And so we had a conference call with him on Thursday, and I didn't even have time to say, like, hey, how are things over there? Because he's like, I got to go. I got another call right after this. It's like, oh, okay. No mention of any delay in production or anything like that. So I just shot him a little email. And I said, I just wanted to check in on you and your family. We've had a relationship with them for years, and I've spent quite a bit of time with him. He's come to visit us a bunch, and we've been at conferences together. So he's not a complete stranger to me. Mm-hmm. And I said, I just wanted to check in and see how you're doing and see if there's anything, that you can't get over there that I could try to get a hold of for you and send over to you if you need it. And so I got a nice note back. I'm trying to find it in my thing. I said, how are you doing? And he said, thanks for your message. I'm fine. And my family is too. Basically, almost all companies have enabled people to working in their offices to work from home. So myself and my wife are both working from home too. Production continues despite that we have, and this is all, semi-broken English, we have some ill persons at home, but there's specific instructions from the government to follow. Like we can't leave home for specific reasons, and we can only leave home for specific reasons, and so on. So I saw it's growing in the U.S. too, so it appears we're 2-3 weeks ahead of you. I hope the contamination won't be as high as it is in Italy. So at this stage, we're good, and we'll keep you in mind your offer, and thank you. And so I thought that was nice. I'm like, this is totally different from what I'm hearing on the news. It sounds like everything's shut down there. Like I keep hearing, oh, it's just supermarkets and pharmacies. Those are the only things that are open. Wrong. And then I woke up this morning to an email from my guy in China. And I didn't reach out to him because I figured, we're told their government shuts their internet pretty tight. So I don't want to get him in trouble by saying, hey. And I'm pretty certain his name isn't Andy. That's the name that he uses to communicate with Americans. But I didn't want to say, hey, Andy, what's really going on over there? Because it did get touch and go for a bit. So one of the saving graces of the timing for China was that this hit during Chinese New Year. So Chinese New Year, for those of you who don't interact with the Chinese, they shut down their entire economy for basically 2.5-3 weeks. Everybody goes home to spend time with their families, and there's big celebrations and all this. So you'd imagine that going into that, they're stockpiling stuff. They're building up inventory to take care of those 2-3 weeks where they're not manufacturing. So I don't know that we've fully seen the impact of actually extending that closure, because that's what they ended up doing in a lot of places. Mm-hmm. So we got emails from him saying, hey, they've told us we were supposed to go back to work on February the 2nd. Now they're saying the 10th. And I think he actually got back to work on the 14th of February. So they extended Chinese New Year by 2-3 weeks, depending on how close you were to Wuhan. And we got emails from him that were from totally different, formatting. So we're like, oh my God, what's going on here? Like, did he get out through the firewall? What's happening? And nobody wants to get him in trouble, because we had heard stories that, was it a couple cab drivers over there were talking about the virus on WhatsApp, and next thing you know, they're off to jail. And I would never forgive myself if my poor little Chinese vendor ends up in jail because I'm nosy and I need to go on. Right. So I got an email this morning. Greeting from Andy is the subject line. He says, hi, Tracy. Right now, I heard that they call it apparently the 29 NCOV spreads very quick in the USA. Please take care of you and your family. And here are some tips, and hope it can help you a bit. So tip number 1, when you have to go outside, it's better to wear a mask. Tip number 2, when you come back from outside, and I'm just going to read it verbatim, It is better to wash your hands. Number 3, keep the air circulating in the room and reduce the times to go to crowded places. Number 4, it is better to stay at home and reduce or cancel parties. And number 5, maintain a good attitude, and you can also do some daily exercise. We will beat 2019 NCV sooner or later. Best wishes, Andy.
That's nice.
It is nice. And then I followed up and asked him how his family was doing and explained why I didn't want to send him an email. And he wrote back that his family is doing quite fine. Everybody's back to normal.
Huh.
So there you go. News from China and Italy for everybody.
I believe Andy more than CNN.
I know, right? Although I do picture like some CCP official standing over him dictating like, here are the 5 things to tell those Americans to do. At least it didn't conflict with what we've been told. It wasn't like, go outside and hug as many people as you can find. But if you think about, I don't think it's going to get as bad here as it has in China and Italy. Just culturally, we're way different about being close to each other. So think about that city of Wuhan, when you take into account the surrounding suburbs, 60 million people.
Right.
And they don't have any idea. Personal space is not a thing. Right? Like, man spreading would never become the plague it's been in our country over there. Somebody would just sit on your damn lap.
Right.
So they're on top of each other. And then in Italy, multi-generations tend to live together in the same household. And if you think about it, all throughout Europe, if you ever run in, they don't do the handshake. They do the cheek kiss.
Yeah.
I mean, what? That's just, hey, have a little virus.
Yeah. But things are like people are going absolutely nuts. And the media is fanning the flames. You bring up Italy. We talked about this before we started recording, and we're recording on Saturday, March 14th. And this piece hit a day ago. This is from Fox News, but it was all over the place. Italian actor Luca Franzese. I don't know if I'm saying his name properly, but Luca, I know, but Franzesi, I don't know. Says he was quarantined with sister's dead body during coronavirus outbreak.
I saw that trending all over the place. I didn't realize it was an Italian actor.
Yes, but apparently this guy, not only was he quarantined with his sister, and unfortunately she passed away, he was Facebook living the whole thing. Facebook living. He's going Facebook Live.
Live streaming.
Living.
Live streaming on Facebook.
Live streaming on Facebook. So
So wait, hold on
Facebook.
a second. He could pull that off and Biden can't?
Quote, I have my sister in bed dead. I don't know what to do. Luca said in a series of graphic Facebook videos per the Washington Post. I cannot give her the honor she deserves because the institutions have abandoned me. I contacted everyone, but nobody was able to give me an answer. Apparently, funeral homes were turning the family away, saying we're not going to pick up the body. And so he's just hanging out with his dead sister. And then he said, well, I was giving her mouth to mouth, so clearly I've been exposed. Eventually, a funeral home, after all of this publicity, stepped up to the plate and accepted the sister's body. But, of course, nobody could go to the funeral.
That's sad.
So, but, of course, the apocalypse porn that the media is pushing out there in a lot of ways is causing this panic in Indianapolis, as well as, all over the country. You're seeing people running around frantically trying to find toilet paper and getting into fights over basic necessities. And apparently on Friday, someone was tweeting to our pal Tony Katz, that there was, I'll just read you the tweets, just evacuated Costco in Greenwood, which is just outside of Indianapolis. Just evacuated Costco in Greenwood because of an active shooter situation, exactly why I buy ammo. And then, as he went on to explain, he was about 30 seconds away from checking out after waiting 20 minutes. A couple of guys got into it over something, not sure what, and one of the parties pulled a gun. Someone set off the alarms in the store. People started running for the exits. This is where we're headed, and much of it has to do with a media that's fanning the flames of this. The most rational discussions I've heard about the coronavirus have happened on radio and podcasts. Mm-hmm. The cable networks have been completely irresponsible covering this. I think everyone, we've talked about this in previous weeks, everyone needs to take this seriously. You did. I took it seriously too, even though I went to CPAC, and I'm still happy I went because I drummed up some business for myself by going to CPAC. So it was still a successful trip, even though I was locked in a room for a week.
Yeah. Just say you went on a meditation retreat. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for that stuff.
Right? But people need to take this seriously. The media obviously needs to cover it, especially what's been happening in South Korea and Italy and China. And, there are media reports that you can see mass graves in Iran. God, I need some sleep. Iran.
Yes.
In Iran, there you can see satellite footages of mass graves being dug. So, some people are being unrealistic, think the media shouldn't be covering this, but it's wall-to-wall coverage, and it has incited panic in the streets.
But have you actually seen panic? Well, you haven't been outside.
Right, I haven't been outside. Well, you know how we've watered down language?
Yes.
Our definition of panic in 2020 is two women fighting over the last 24 pack of toilet paper. I mean, there's no one in the streets at this point turning over cars and rioting, but it is ridiculous when you see post after post. I've got friends that have gone on missions to go out to try to find different things, and a lot of it, they aren't panicking. It's just like, okay, Friday was my normal grocery shopping day, and so I went to the grocery store, and it's a 30-minute wait to check out, and all the toilet paper's gone, all the cleaning products are gone, but then also all the bread's gone, all the meat's gone, all the lunch meat's gone. So, and much of this, I think, is caused by the media, and because many journalists turn to social media for their source for news. And as we know, social media in a lot of ways can be great for breaking news, but then it can be terrible for breaking news, because what a person claims is a video from China, it could be a video from Vulcan for all we know.
Right. I saw that the satellite images show that they're digging mass graves, and I looked at that and said, how do I know what that is?
Right.
Why are we passing this around? But it goes back to my point of the pessimists, because, there's studies that show that people react more to negative stories, scary stories, whatever evokes negative emotions, be it fear, panic, anger, whatever, is going to get elevated. It just seems to be human nature that we want to do that stuff. But the media, they could cover this in a more responsible way by telling people what they can do to help keep themselves safe, what resources are available. But I watched the press conference that they gave in the Rose Garden yesterday. So it was Trump and Pence and the whole, coronavirus. What is it called? Their team, whatever the Blue Ribbon panel that they've put together, and a bunch of different CEOs from corporations. And when they finally started taking questions, I think it was the second or third question is, oh, President Trump. You were seen in a photograph with that Brazilian, the member of Bolsonaro's, crew that you were seen photographed with. You've been exposed. When are you going to get tested? I'm like, if there's anything that's going to drive people to panic even more, it's worrying about whether or not the president's been infected by this.
Right.
And my guess is They've probably already tested him and he's okay. Why are you going to put the whole task force and all those people in danger if there's any possibility that he was exposed to this? Because at first I thought, well, maybe they would lie about it, right? Just to keep people from not getting panicked. Like at Trudeau's wife has tested positive for it, and he's refusing to take a test. No, it's fine. But I look at both of them and think, could they possibly already have it? And they're just going to lie about it because it's better for all of us if they just keep their mouths shut and get healthy. Because if you've got world leaders, all of them sick, holy chaos, here we come.
Right.
Not that, I don't know. I mean, the federal government has been so damn inept in this whole thing. It's pathetic. And now you got the whole lineup of CEOs and companies and also, larger sectors of the economy that the left hates that have all jumped forward to help. You've got Walmart. Hey, they hate them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. Big Pharma's coming to the table. All those guys. I'm like, oh, Bernie Sanders is going to have a bitch of a time, talking about this. It seems like the health insurance companies are being understanding. We're just all these tests are going to be free and all this. So everybody's taking a hit to help out.
Right. And I got an email yesterday from my power company telling me that no one's power is going to be shut off during this. And I don't know about you, but I've gotten an email from every business that I have done business with over the past 10 years telling me how seriously they're taking the virus, and the amount of restaurant coupons I've received in emails in the last 2 days has been amazing. But I'm always looking for humor in situations like this. I know you call me a negative Nancy, and that is true. I tend to lean a little bit negative, but at least I can find the humor in things. One of my favorite comedians, Norm Macdonald, sent out a tweet. Are you ready for this? And maybe I don't know if you like Norm Macdonald, Tracy.
Oh, I love Norm.
I love Norm. He said, "It's morally wrong for me to do stand-up and cause strangers to possibly become sick. And now with this virus, it seems even more wrong. I'm postponing my next 2 gigs, but I'm still hopeful that a vaccine comes that protects us all from the Tom Hanks disease, THD."
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So, I mean, it just is so frustrating to see some of the reaction out there to a virus that in most cases people won't even know that they have, or if they have it, it will be cold and flu-like symptoms. Again, I'm not dismissing the seriousness of it. It is very serious. I had a long conversation with my 81-year-old father yesterday, who I've told him now for 2 weeks to start stockpiling. And he didn't listen to me. He didn't take me seriously. And then yesterday he went out and couldn't find any toilet paper. He was looking for bottled water. The pharmacy where he likes to frequent was out of bottled water initially. And then they started stockpiling in the back of the store cases of water. So he grabbed 2 cases really quickly. And he said to me, "Listen, I guess I should have taken you more seriously about starting to prepare for this. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to live like a hermit. I'm going to keep doing what I do." And, he's the type that likes to go out and meet his buddies. They're all in their late 70s or early 80s. They go to happy hours a few times a week at bars. And I said, can't you guys just meet in someone's house and just hang out, just for a few weeks? I'm not asking you to completely shut yourself down. I get that. Nobody wants that. But I worry about the people who have compromised immune systems who aren't taking this seriously. Is it really worth risking your life to go out and have some wings with some pals? Yes, you should live your life. But at the same time, you do need to not just laugh this off, as many people have, and some people on the right, I've kind of just been shaking my head where they're acting like this is nothing, this is ridiculous. Well, I'm sorry, it isn't nothing, and it's not ridiculous when you see the numbers in other countries. We have to take this seriously.
Yeah, my thing is it's better to overreact and find out that wasn't warranted than it is to underreact and realize, oh shit, we should have overreacted.
Right.
You know, it's like putting on too many clothes when you go outside and it's cold. You can always take some off. But if you don't have them to begin with, then you're kind of screwed.
Right. No, I told you a couple of weeks ago I went into Costco and was amazed how people were already starting to prepare. I would walk by the display of 12-pound bags of rice and it was completely gone. I'm know that those people are probably sitting back getting a chuckle right now, but I feel bad. I've got a neighborhood Facebook page where a woman who's a nurse said, hey, I've been working 14-hour shifts the last 4 days. Friday was going to be my grocery shopping day, and people have lost their minds. So what's cool is we've all kind of pooled resources in the neighborhood saying, hey, if you need toilet paper, if you need something, leave it on the porch for you.
Yeah.
There's a family in our neighborhood that's about ready to have they're going to have their first child any day now. Like, gosh, we can't get formula. It's
wow.
People are going crazy.
Yeah. No, and I feel safe because we both started planning way ahead of this. Right. And I've still been going to the supermarket every week, but I've been going at 6:30 in the morning. And guess what? There's nobody there to infect me. Mm-hmm. And the shelves have been restocked overnight. So I hadn't had a problem. I was able to get a whole big giant thing of Clorox wipes and more toilet paper. Because every time I go, I'm like, oh, I should get some more toilet paper. Because maybe it turns into gold at some point in time. And I'm sitting on a big old pile of plush quilted northern, 6-ply over here. But
that and Bitcoin will be our currency moving forward.
Well, Bitcoin went in the toilet. I don't know if you saw that.
What do you mean by in the toilet?
It was up over.
Of the value did it lose?
50%.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was almost touching 10,000 a coin last week before all this panic started. Now It's down to 5,300 as we're recording this.
Well, my dad, over the course of our conversation, notified me that I'm going to lose my job.
Of course.
That apparently no one is going to buy anything starting Monday, which was interesting to me. I tried to explain to him that the economy, just because people are working from home, they're still making money. By the way, retail sales, I'm guessing, they're going to be pretty healthy. The reports last month were Costco's sales were up 12% in February. Mm-hmm. What's March going to be like? Our good buddy Paul Cruteau was at a Costco in San Antonio on Friday. He needed dog food. He's one of these people where it's like, I'm not here for your panic.
Right.
I'm here just to get dog food. He got there a half hour early. The wait to get into Costco was at least 3 blocks long. People waiting to get into Costco to rush.
You just order it online. Costco does delivery. They will ship it to you. People, I don't understand why people weren't doing that a week or two ago. I mean, now you can't even buy toilet paper on Amazon. I checked yesterday.
Or hand sanitizer.
Yeah, well, you can make your own hand sanitizer.
Right. But it was a 3-block long line, and the greeters at Costco, 7 minutes in, were saying, we're out of toilet paper. We're out of toilet paper. Please calm down. I mean, it's like Black Friday. If Black Friday had a baby with Cyber Monday and peed on it, that's what's going on right now.
Well, it makes me want to go and go to the lines and just be like, you want to roll? $10. $10.
Yeah. It used to be a guy would walk up to you on the street with a trench coat and say, "Want to buy a watch? I got a watch. Want to buy a watch?" And it's, "Hey, I got 2-ply. You need some 2-ply? Got some 2-ply right here."
Well, I
Ultra
could tear
soft.
my 4-ply apart and just double up on my haul. But I mean,
So
you can
there's
tell your dad from where I sit, and our business is about 60. No, well, I'm trying to think, 40 to 50% material handling stuff.
Mhm.
So we sell into meat and poultry, where they're making the food that you're going to eat, and pharma. So we're pretty good at the moment. Our phones are ringing like crazy. We're getting requests from Europe, which we hardly ever see. So that tells me they were buying cheap Chinese crap.
right.
And then I had a conversation with one of our customers yesterday, and they're also in that sector as well. And I said, "Are you guys seeing any pullback? Because I want to know, looking at the market, everybody's thinking, oh my God, we're going into a recession. But I want to see what's actually going on the ground." He's like, "No, we've exploded." Well, they handle that stuff, and they also do a lot in the convenience stores. So they make solutions for delivering all the food and beverages that go to all these places. So it's just like, no. Certain sectors of the economy are going to come out of this really, really strong. And I know other ones are going to get hurt. Restaurants, theaters, sports,
Right.
all that stuff. But this is going to be temporary.
Well, I wonder if there's going to be an inflationary cycle here, because you're going to find people, like you said, who used to rely on China, but if they can find an alternative where it may be a little bit more expensive in the United States or in Europe, they may say, "Oh, I listen, I've done with China. I'm not going to go back. This could happen again." I mean, you listen to experts talking about how this virus first started, and it's out of these wet markets where people buy their meat, and it could easily
Allegedly.
happen again between that and the population
Right.
of China, the close quarters. And people may start looking for other options than China to get their components or whatever they need to build their products. So there may be some inflation, but like you said, there are people who are going to be hurting. I wouldn't want to be in the hospitality industry. I wouldn't want to be relying on a paycheck from hotels at this point. But you are seeing people step up to the plate. I saw a piece yesterday from the Detroit News that the owner of the Tigers and the Red Wings, during this whole thing, pretty much every major league sport has decided to suspend play, or last I checked, they're going to hold a NASCAR race this weekend without fans, but I'm not positive on that. That I saw that a couple of days ago. But here you have a ton of people who work at these stadiums part-time, work at theaters part-time, and at least I saw this in Detroit with the Ilitch family. They're going to pay their part-time employees for a month while they get through this. I believe Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, has also stated that, hey, I'm going to make sure that my people are taken care of during this time. So now you can either be a negative Nancy or a positive Paula here. I mean, if you're a part-time worker, maybe you sit back and say, okay, maybe this won't be so bad. At least for the first month, I'm going to get paid and I will stay away from people. But my kid's school bus driver said, my kids are now off school until the middle of April. And she said, "Oh, I just bought a car and I'm not sure that they're going to pay me." So
yeah, there's going to be that uncertainty for sure. But thinking while you were talking about what those people could be doing, people don't want to ride public transportation right now.
right.
So does Uber loosen restrictions on what kind of cars you can have and be a driver? Could those people jump in and right away and go be Uber and Lyft drivers?
Right. I mean, and that's
did you see the picture of the subway somebody put out yesterday in New York City? It was like 6 p.m. Just empty subway cars.
Yeah. No, I have a couple of friends who live in New York, and one has an office right off of Times Square, and he posted a picture of Times Square at 9:30. I mean, it was like 9/11. It was crazy. There were maybe 2 cabs on the street and maybe one or two people walking, and you've been in Times Square, right? I've been in Times Square. You should avoid Times Square
Yes.
because of the how many people there are and the pickpockets and
It's just gross.
It's just gross. But it actually looked like an appealing place to be yesterday. And then I had another friend who I believe was in Queens at one of the most busy subway stops in New York, and he's like, "Hey, it's 9:45 in the morning," and he had a picture, and he was the only one on the platform.
Nice.
Crazy. So I'm supposed to travel to Florida for spring break. I was planning on driving down there, which is always a treat, Tracy. But just for shits and giggles, I checked flights again, and I had been checking flights for weeks, and it was between $400 and $450 a person to fly to Florida for spring break. And now I couldn't believe it. Allegiant's a discount air carrier, and they had before you add your seat fee and buy luggage, it was $100 round trip.
Wow, round trip,
$100 to fly to Florida during spring break.
Wow.
So they're hurting.
Yeah. Oh, they're hurting big time because you've got all these events canceling. So people are canceling their flights. I have the American Airlines app on my phone, and there was a little alert on it. I'm like, well, what the hell is this? And it was just telling me, like, if you're trying to cancel stuff, you're going to wait a long time, but we'll take care of everything. We're extending the cancellation period for like months out. So they've just been issuing vouchers pretty much. Like, okay, done. They're going to take a huge hit in all of this.
Right.
But about that, so my dad was traveling this week, flying Orlando to Los Angeles on Tuesday. And I said, how, was the plane packed or what? He said it was pretty full. He returned on Thursday. It's like there's a handful of people on my flight. So that's how fast things changed.
Yeah. Again, between that and hotels. And what I found interesting was I received an email from Allegiant. I don't have any trips upcoming other than I'm flying to Austin in September. I'm supposed to, and I'm going to do it anyway, unless things are, unless it's The Walking Dead.
Right.
It's September. Things can change rapidly in just a couple of weeks. But I got an email from Allegiant telling me that security was actually taking long. It was longer. It was taking longer to get through security checkpoints because of this, which I found curious because, okay, I understand people are doing the whole social distancing, and I don't know if they're instructing people in line to stand 6 feet away from someone else, but with the story you just told about your dad, there are a lot less passengers to go through. So, I do feel for TSA workers who, oh, here's my phone. This is my ticket. Here's my
they got to touch all that stuff. I'm sure they're wearing gloves.
Yeah.
I mean, they have gloves on standby. If you've ever been pulled aside to have the secondary inspection, they have to whip out the gloves. But no, he said he got to the airport super early on Thursday morning because I think the concierge told him, oh, they're saying security lines are really long. He's like, he gets there and there's nobody, So he's like, I got like 2 hours to kill and there's nobody in the airport. So it's a little crazy, but I think this will calm down.
I mean, you look at, if you are a bartender at an airport bar, I mean, holy crap, your income just took a huge hit.
I think if you're a bartender anywhere, or people, I was thinking about going out today and just kind of walking down the main street here to see if anybody's in any of the restaurants and just see how people are really reacting to it.
Well, I've seen kind of a movement from people on social media who want to support local restaurants. To, people are going out and buying gift certificates now to use later, just to kind of help keep local businesses afloat. I'm going out today. I'm I told you, I'm not crazy about going out. Looks like I got 2 inches of snow right now. In It's almost St. Patrick's Day, but I'm supposed to go today. We're gonna record Eat, Drink, Smoke, Tony Katz podcast, and we do it from Blend Bar Cigar in Indianapolis, and we're planning on doing it. I mean, wash your hands, don't touch your face, yada yada yada. We've heard it 1,000 times before. Even though I don't know if you watched the Joe Rogan podcast earlier this week with the infectious disease expert. He's like, that's always a good idea, but it sounds more and more like this is contagious just based on breathing.
Yeah.
You don't even have to cough. So I don't know. It still feels like, and I'm going to take his word for it over Dr. Google, but it does feel like at this point, and he made the point, he illustrated it by saying, trying to stop this is like trying to stop the wind.
Right. Right. And everybody needs to understand that. Like,
yeah.
We're not going to stop it. We're trying to mitigate the damage it's going to do and keep the most vulnerable safe. But the rest of us, it's actually better if we're exposed to it and we start building up herd immunity. Right. So then it doesn't come roaring back in the fall, which I've also heard is a possibility. But yes, I would say anybody that hasn't listened to that episode of Rogan, let me look up that guy's name because it was
Michael something, I think.
But I thought it was quite interesting. And just his description, because he'd spent some time in China and talking about those markets.
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap. So I have, for all intents and purposes, for everybody else to understand, I'm part of a group that people would probably think of as like a mastermind group, where it's other people that, business owners and such, and second generation, third generation family businesses. And we had a meeting this week. So we're all talking about it because we all have different, we're all coming from different sectors. And one of the members happens to be a veterinarian in the avian world. So I asked him, what do you think about this? What are your thoughts? And he said, hey, look, I think it definitely came from an animal, that it jumped from animal to human. Doesn't think that it came out of that lab. But he said, I see a report that comes out, I can't remember if he said it's weekly or monthly, of new flu viruses that have popped up in China. And so all the guys that are privy to this information have just sat there waiting for the one that's actually going to jump and cross out of that country. But he said this is actually a mild one compared to some of the other ones you've seen. But the reason this happens, and that doctor's name is Michael Osterholm. So he was on Tuesday of this past week's episode number 1439.
Check it out.
And that's the Joe Rogan show. So he was saying what we don't understand, because we don't live like this necessarily in the United States. I mean, maybe some people do, but the majority of farmers don't live in a domicile with their animals. So he says these flus jump between pigs and birds, and then the people live upstairs. So you got pigs, birds, first floor, human beings, second floor. And all these germs are just circulating. Right. And then they combine and form awful things. And that's what that doctor was saying. You walk through some of these markets, and what did he say? It was ferrets that were in a cage above chickens or something. Yes. And he's like, ferrets are just like the absolute worst thing. But this is what these people eat. And, we look at that and say it's disgusting, but then you have to remember that they're poor as dirt, so they could be North Koreans eating actual dirt, or they can get themselves a nice, healthy ferret.
Yeah, the ferrets are shitting into the chicken cages, and then the chickens are eating the ferret shit, and it's just...
Yeah, and then there's 10,000 people in the market that's a square mile, just crammed. It's not a good thing. So maybe this will wake China up and they'll kind of change their hygiene habits a little bit, because, there's a great David Sedaris story about him visiting China that I'll have to see if I can find for everybody, because he's just shares what he sees, and it's not pretty. And if it happened here, people would freak the hell out. Child Protective Services would be all totally overwhelmed. But, yeah.
No, it will be interesting to see how all of this unfolds moving forward. I'm we're so spoiled in this country. It the reaction. First of all, I'm not. I think the Trump administration has done a pretty good job responding to this. I'm not crazy about the president's messaging throughout the whole thing.
No.
It hasn't been good, if you're going to be honest. But everything I've heard from people on the ground, you see quotes from people who don't like Trump, like Bill de Blasio saying, well, I agree with the travel ban. Governor Newsom in California saying, he's doing a good job so far. We disagree on a lot of things, but I can't complain about the administration's response so far. But the messaging's been terrible. But the thing that I am just frustrated with my fellow citizens is this is a new virus. And people don't seem to understand that tests for this virus don't just fall out of the sky.
Right.
Like if you are someone who is in their 30s and you have a fever and you have the symptoms, but it's all manageable to where you can get through at home with some flu medicine, some hot toddies, they aren't going to test you because there aren't enough tests yet. And why would they want you to leave your house and potentially expose a bunch of other people to this virus? I think pretty much everyone can acknowledge that, wow, okay, you've got a temperature of 102, you're coughing, you probably have this, you probably came in contact with it. We don't need to test you. Just wait it out at home and stay away from people. But there are a lot of angry people who think this should be just like the flu and I should be able to go get tested right away. And it's unrealistic for a number of reasons. So that's a little bit frustrating, seeing the response, just how spoiled we are. Like it's not like other like flu strains where you can go get a flu test. It's not like that. This is all brand new, and it takes time to build up these test kits. It doesn't just happen overnight.
Right. And the other thing that people don't seem, and I don't expect people to be rational in the face of panic. Some people will be, some people won't be. And the more information everybody has, the calmer I think people will become. But this idea that, we should be able to go get tests whenever we want. Okay, you go get a test and you pop negative. And then you're not guaranteed to stay that way.
Right.
So imagine hypochondriacs like yourself that would want to go and do it every single day.
Yeah.
Oh, I went somewhere, I forgot, I touched my face and I might have touched the door handle. It's just, everybody needs to keep calm. Thank Walmart. I'm serious. They're going to be setting up testing in their parking lots.
That's great. No, you're right. Hypochondriacs are the worst. I mean, I doubled over yesterday in a little bit of pain and I yelled, my ovaries. I could talk myself into anything, Tracy. It's terrible.
Oh.
But no, it's I saw, the problem is that this president, as a businessman, it was one of the reasons why he was elected, is people were tired of a politician who would run something by 13 different people and have focus groups to figure out what he or she was going to say before something comes out. This guy just shoots from the hip, and it's not always pretty. It's not always good, but that's one of the reasons why he was elected. And there is a big percentage, a large percentage of people in this country who never accepted his election, who can't accept his election, that pick apart everything that comes out of his face. I saw a reporter who reports on the NFL bitching about that press conference, saying, well, business leaders, I don't want to hear from business leaders in the Rose Garden. Where are the doctors? Where are the scientists? I want to talk to them. And someone hit him up right away and said, they're probably working.
Yeah, but don't you want to know the action plan? So there's this great marketing book that I read recently called Alchemy, and it was written, now I'm not going to remember, Ogilvy marketing firm is one of the most world famous, and this gentleman that wrote the book works there. And one of the things he talked about was that people get really anxious and angry when they don't have information.
Right.
And he talked about things that they had discussed with, say, airlines for how to improve communication and things like that. So if your flight is delayed, and we watched, what was it, Cenk Uygur last week have a massive breakdown on his flight was delayed. Did you not see that? That idiot live streamed the whole thing. Well, the reason people get angry is because they don't know how long the wait is going to be.
Right.
So if you tell them, hey, it's going to be 2-hour delay, and then if it goes longer, you just extend it and you keep telling people, they will calm down. You won't have angry flipping out. People will accept that. So that's what I want to see coming out of these press conferences, and I think that's what the news should be concentrating on. And they should be making decisions and saying, it's sharing this information going to make things better or worse? Does it help or does it hurt? But I mean, watching that press conference yesterday, I was furious with Trump when they asked him if he was going to take responsibility, and he said no. It's like, come on, dude. Just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? This got slow walked because the CDC and the National Health and all that, they're tied by all this stupid red tape that exists. They finally had to give that Roche company that's coming up with the rapid testing, they had to get an exemption. I mean, this is the stupid stuff that government does. That slows everything down.
That should have been his answer.
Right.
It should have been, oh, okay, I understand that you are trying to get clicks and viewers by asking me this question, but this is what I have to deal with on a daily basis. And then go through the red tape.
No, I don't want an excuse. I want him to say, yes, this is my fault. I should have dug into all of these agencies the second I got here and start seeing what the roadblocks are that were put into place. And now that we've identified those, we're knocking them down left and right and moving as fast as we can. And this is why I brought people from private industry who understand when there's an emergency, we need all hands on deck and we need solutions, not excuses for why we can't do X, Y, Z. I just want it done.
But then the headlines the next day will be Trump, it's my fault. And then that would be the campaign throughout the fall. Trump.
Right, but how many people are going to actually believe it's his fault? Like, they're not going to be like, oh, Trump created the coronavirus in the Wuhan lab and let it spread. I mean, no, you as a leader, you have to take responsibility for stuff. As we both touch our faces.
Well, I haven't been out of the house since last Saturday.
That's true. So. You're safe. And I went to the gym, and I'm walking around in the gym now with Clorox wipes in my hand when I touch anything. I don't trust
anybody in the gym.
No, there was not. Thank God. I've been going really early in the morning to the gym too. So it's gym, shower, then to the grocery store if I need to, and then disinfect myself.
Well, I stopped going to the gym a little while ago, and I would love to tell you it was because of my concern of the coronavirus, but it was just because I'm fat and lazy. But I continue my keto diet as best as I can. I'm still down 20. Let's see. Last I checked, I'm down 26 pounds.
Wow.
So, yeah, I've plateaued, but that'll happen when all you do is sit in a room for a week.
That's true.
So I will be back to normal activity next week, but it's interesting to see how industry in this country is reacting to this. As you know, I keep close tabs on the auto industry.
Yes, you do.
You're already seeing work moving from Europe and China to the United States. Chrysler just announced that they're going to bring 200 jobs to Indiana from Italy.
Wow.
For engine production. I haven't checked to see if that's permanent or if it's just temporary. But there was at least one person in central Indiana who works at a local Chrysler plant who tested positive for the coronavirus. And the plant's still running. They walked that person out, deactivated his or her badge, and 7 or 8 people around that person got walked out as well, and they're quarantined. The people who aren't showing any symptoms are self-quarantining, and obviously the person who tested positive is receiving medical treatment. But this is what's interesting, as you know, in your field as well. When you're in a manufacturing facility and it's an assembly line, person at the beginning of the line is touching something, and then it goes to the next person, they're touching something, and it can quickly spread throughout a manufacturing facility. So it's going to be interesting to see how these companies throughout America deal with this.
But to that point, a lot of, at least on our floor, almost everybody's wearing gloves already.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's wearing protective glasses, so they're not touching their eyes. And I know we scrambled maybe 2-3 weeks ago to get in more masks because we have to use those for certain applications. So I feel good about that, but we're taking extra precautions over the weekend. I know that our HR manager's putting together kind of best practices to hand out to our employees. I had, my buddy in Italy send me what they've given to their workers who are still there,
mm-hmm.
And coming to work. And it's pretty intense. I mean, they're like, we're setting up sanitation stations all over the place. We only want one person in the bathroom at any given time. And,
Are they giving silkwood showers to people? Is that what's going on here?
Yeah. No, but, it's an abundance of caution.
Right.
So you got to do stuff like wipe down all the vending machines, wipe down the time clock, to keep these things in mind to try to keep everybody as safe as possible. And now they've shut down the schools in Pennsylvania. Did they shut down the schools in Indiana?
My kids do not have to report back to school until after spring break, which is in the middle of April. So, the kids are thrilled.
Of course.
I keep telling them that this isn't good. I know that it feels like a vacation for you. And that's another thing that you're already seeing people on social media saying, well, my kids are home now, so we're going to go to the movie theater today, and then we're going to go to the mall and all this other stuff. It's like, the whole purpose of this was to stay at home. Let's try not to spread this stuff, and people are treating it like it's a month-long spring break.
Right, but is it bad? I mean, they say that the children are the least susceptible, right, as long as they don't have any underlying condition. So in order to build up herd immunity, is there an argument for letting them continue to do that as long as you don't have them then interacting with senior citizens or people that are potentially compromised?
Well, that's the thing. It's like we all have to be on the same page with this stuff. Either we all have to try to go out, if you're under the age of, say, 40 at least. I am seeing reports that if even it's hitting people over 40 and they're struggling to overcome it. But, the narrative has been for a while that it's just the elderly and people who have had their immune system compromised through cancer or whatever. But if we all were in agreement, okay, if you're under 40, hey, let's just all go out and hang out and hug each other, and we'll all deal. But there's like this mixed messaging going on where, okay, lock yourself in your home, but you should still live your life. But listen, we're going to keep the kids at home, but it wouldn't be so bad if they got it. I think people are just looking, like you said, for some sign that there's a master plan here.
Yeah, that very well could be. Sorry, my camera just decided to turn itself off on me, so I was trying to fix that little error there.
Oh.
So keep talking.
So, my question is, you said you're well stocked. I don't know if I'm going to avoid the grocery store for a little while, or if I'm just going to pop in from time to time. I think that's going to be my strategy moving forward, is I'm going to pop in from time to time and say to myself, okay, I'm just going to spend $20, $30 picking up random things that I already, I'm not going to run out and get, 50 rolls of toilet paper. I've got enough to get me through for a little while, but I may just pop in from time to time to make sure, okay, if the shelves are stocked, I may get some meat.
Yeah.
I may get a few things, but you got to leave stuff for
other people.
How are you going to handle it?
I'm just going to keep going once a week. Like my normal schedule. I'm going to go early in the morning, like I said, and pick up what I need. Try to replenish if I can't find something. My freezer is so full of stuff right now that I can't put anything else in it. So I feel pretty well stocked, but I'm trying to stick to my carnivore diet. So I've got about 50 pounds of meat in my fridge.
So how's that working out for you?
So far, so good. I'm down about 5 pounds and my energy levels are higher than they've ever been. It has kind of screwed with my sleep though. So for, all 39 years of my life prior to this, I've been a night owl. Like it seems like my perfect circadian rhythm would be to go to sleep sometime between midnight and 2 a.m. and then wake up 8 hours later. So it was always brutal for me going to school. I don't know about you, but high school, I think we started a day at 7:10 a.m. or some ungodly hour.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I would shower the night before because I was awake, roll out of bed at 6:50 when I could drive myself and just speed to school. And then, working was never fun either. Like meetings at 9 a.m. I'm like, oh my God, I want to kill myself. If somebody wanted an 8 a.m. meeting, forget it. They were the devil. But now I'm going to bed at like 8:15 and I'm up at 3:45, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, so, God, that's hell.
It is. But then you look at it and I'm like, there was one day last week where I got up, threw in a load of laundry, went to the gym, came home, threw the laundry in the dryer, took a shower, got ready, took the laundry out, put it away, then went to the grocery store, and then still made it to work by 7:30 in the morning.
But okay,
and I'm like, listen, I'm done. Then at 4:15, I'm done for the day, and I've got 3 hours and 45 minutes to enjoy before I have to go to bed.
Well, I mean, and that's great in February and March, but in July, when the sun is still in your windows at
I sleep with shades
night,
on my eyes anyways. I sleep with a sleep mask.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a hotel right across the driveway from my apartment. And they like to leave their lights on all the time. And they blast right through my windows. So I invested in a nice set of eye shades 2.5 years ago when I moved in here. So I'm good. I can black it all out.
Does your apartment complex give you the hotel lighting discount?
No, I've thought about I bitch too much about things because I could run this place, but so I try to keep that to a minimum.
Oh, see, I would be bitching all the time. It's my way, but I have not. I don't know. You've got a apartment complex, Jim, that you go to. I am a member of the YMCA, and I've already received 4 or 5 emails from them. They've canceled everything. I mean, if you are in any sort of adult sports league, if your kids are involved in a sports league, that's all been canceled, or if the league would still exist in February, postponed until April, the middle of April. The gyms are open, and they go on and on about how they've stepped up their cleaning efforts, which I say to myself, why weren't you doing that before anyway?
Right. That's kind of how I feel about a lot of the cleaning emails that I'm getting.
Yeah. So, but as you know, maybe, we did an episode of this podcast a couple of months ago where we talked about awful gym behavior and how people leave their own soup on machines. If we can all be positive Paulas like you, maybe one of the positive effects of this is maybe people will start cleaning up after themselves at the gym and not leave their own personal soup on a machine for someone to sit in, or they can wipe off the damn handles on machines and wipe off the touch pads on treadmills. Maybe that will be a positive that comes out of all this.
Well, I can tell you, I haven't seen it yet. So I am going to the gym at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and occasionally there are other people in there. So there's one guy that likes to come in, and he walks for about 5 minutes. We have one of those Stairmasters that's the actual stairs.
Yes.
And every time he's been on it, he coughs. And I'm like, dude, gross, because I'm on the machine right next to it. And then he doesn't wipe it down and just pieces out. And then there's a girl that's been in there that's on the treadmill and doing weights and stuff. And I haven't watched her wipe anything down. But like I said, I feel like reality just hit most people this week. So I'm interested to see how that plays out next week in the gym. But I'm rolling down there with a canister of wipes. I'm not playing around. And I've now gone to the leasing office here 4 times to discuss how disgusting the gym is and how I would appreciate it if they could step it up. No, nothing. There's no sign like, hey, because of coronavirus, like maybe we should be a little bit more cognizant about wiping stuff down. No. So I Lysol the hell out of it today. I don't care.
I also think that there's a different mentality when the gym is in your apartment complex versus if you're going to an actual gym that you pay a membership for, because a lot of people treat it like they're at home.
Right. And that's what I've said. I've said that to the people in the leasing office. And one of them, he's fairly new, so I hadn't interacted with him before. But I chatted with him because I went in there on a Saturday. They're supposed to clean the gym on Wednesday. And we have 1 spray bottle of some blue whatever it is that's for cleaning. So I would come in Thursday thinking that bottle will be filled. And for 3 weeks in a row, when I came in on Thursday, that bottle is empty. I'm like, I thought cleaning, there's a big sign. The only sign in the whole gym is closed from 9 to 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning for cleaning. And I'm like, well, clearly that's not happening. Right. So the only time I was there that coincided with when the office is open is on Saturday. So for 3 Saturdays in a row, I marched over and gave them the bottle. And was like, can you fill this? And so I started talking to the one kid, and he's actually a personal trainer that works at other gyms. So I was like, do you think we could institute some signage maybe? Because, I mean, people don't clean, number one. And then the other thing, they move stuff around and don't put it back. And they'll leave weights racked up. So like I've come in there before, and there's 2 45-pounders on either side of the bench press bar. And I'm like, there's old people that come in here and they'll lift the bar. Right. Or they'll lift they'll throw 10 pounds on bar, isn't it? No, I don't know what it is on our machine. It's definitely not that much. Okay. I would be shocked if it was even 20, but still, taking a 45-pound weight off is not the easiest thing in the world, and some people can't even do it. So I've been annoyed. I mean, I don't have a problem doing it. I'm quite proud to say, but it pisses me off. It's like, this is not your living room. Clean it up.
Well, I've had this happen on a couple of occasions, and I know you have talked about it on this show. I have a membership at the Y, and then I've got a membership at Anytime Fitness. So I've got 2 gym memberships that I don't use right now. Well, part of that is, you know how it is. You try to quit a gym, and I know it's an old Friends show episode, but it's impossible to quit a gym. I went into LA Fitness several years ago. Wanted to quit. Oh, the person who handles that isn't here right now. Can you come back Tuesday? Well, no, I want to quit the gym. And then someone right behind me says, I want to sign up for a membership. They're like, oh, go over to Sally over there. It's like, oh, Sally can sign me up for the gym, but Sally can't cancel my gym membership. Yeah, that's how it works. I ended up, I can't remember if I had to do it through the bank where I just stopped paying. It was ridiculous. Like, oh, you have to call corporate. You have to get a hold of corporate. And that's the way it is with these gym memberships. But so I've got this Anytime Fitness membership, and those are cool because you give you a little key fob and you can get in anytime. 24/7. Yeah. Wow. But there was a good stretch where I was going at the same time every day, and it was at, say, 11 o'clock at night. And these aren't big gyms. And this young couple would show up, and they would take over the whole gym. And the girl, you could tell, is there just to kind of be with her boyfriend. Like, he's really into it, and she's just kind of stretching and stuff. And then she's wearing the ridiculously tight yoga pants and the sports bra and then nothing else. And then, if you get caught looking at her, then she'll give you the stink eye. Oh, what are you looking at? What, can't I just work out? It's like, well, sweetheart, your ass and your boobs are hanging out all over the place. I'm sorry. I'm not a dirty old man. I'm not gawking at you, on a continuous basis. But yeah, if I'm, doing something on a machine, I look over. Yeah, may look for an extra second as you're bent over. but they took over the whole gym. And that's the other thing that drives me nuts about these gyms. And I'm sure it's like that. I think you brought it up in your gym in the past, is people who are so oblivious to other people and their space that they have no problem taking over the entire gym.
No. And I finally had to have a conversation. There's a girl that they allow to do personal training sessions in our gym. And the gym is not big. And she's not respectful at all. She talks super loud. Like, I get it. She's trying to be enthusiastic and pump the people up. But they are so loud. I've got the AirPod Pros that I got specifically because I wanted noise canceling for flights and my gym. And I can turn on the noise canceling and still hear these people.
That's crazy.
So finally one day I was just like, would you guys mind keeping your voices down? This room echoes. I'm like, I have noise canceling headphones and I can still hear every single word of your conversation. And it's banal. I didn't say any of that part of it, but yeah. And then I was in there a couple weeks ago at a time that I'm usually not there. And here comes this couple and they're in really, really good shape. And the chick has this long list of exercises that they're going to do. And they're alternate. I think like one was one step ahead of the other one or something, because it's like jump rope for 60 seconds. Then we're going to do burpees for 60 seconds. Then we're going to do mountain climbers. Then we're going to do it. So it's all this massive movement. And there's not a lot of room in this gym. And it went on for over an hour. And so I normally like to come in, run a mile, and then go do weights.
Yeah.
And I would do a set, jump back on, run another mile, go do a set. I couldn't do it because I can't even get across the gym. And I'm like, I got to wait these bastards out. How long do I have to stay on the treadmill? This is so frustrating. So that's why I've just taken to going as early as I possibly can stand it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. The personal trainer thing would really piss me off.
Yeah, it's obnoxious.
Well, we're an hour and 16 minutes in, Tracy, and I got to go.
Yeah, it's time for you to get outside.
Yeah, right? It finally stopped snowing, but we've got like 2 or 3 inches on the ground now.
I'm sure you'll be
that'll
okay.
keep people inside.
Hopefully.
Remember, you can catch the Enough Already podcast, and you know this because you're listening to it now on Apple Podcasts and where all fine podcasts are sold, but share it with a friend. And if you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, do us a solid and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review. That will get the Enough Already podcast in front of more eyes and ears over at Apple. And, of course, you can catch the video version of this fine show over at YouTube and BitChute. It's fun to say. Final thoughts?
I'm thinking maybe we should do a quarantine companion show. We will guide you through your quarantine.
Well, I had so much work to do this week and I blew it off.
No.
Yeah, right? Because I would sit in my little sunroom and I got a little pond in the backyard and I would watch ducks
birds
and geese.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so it was like I was Henry Fonda on Golden Pond. Just you kids under 60, ask Jeeves on Golden Pond. But yeah, I discovered something about myself. I will be an excellent resident at the home someday.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wondered if there's an age where bird watching becomes interesting. Because I remember as a kid, my grandparents were always doing that. You know, they've got the nice big book from the, I can't remember the name, the National Avian Society or something like that. And it's watercolors of all the North American birds. And it would sit right by their window with their binoculars. And then at a certain point, my parents started doing that. And I'm like, my God, if I ever get to the point where I'm buying that book and binoculars and sitting watching birds, I might have to put myself down.
I believe it's the National Audubon Society.
There you go. That's what I was looking for. I've caught Joe Mencha.
Well, to answer your question, the correct answer, at what age does that start interesting you? 48.
Okay, cool.
Is the correct answer. 48.
So I've got 7.5 years.
Yeah, I would have a male and female mallard ducks fly and land in the pond, and then there were geese and stuff. So I would just sit back and watch. And then I would, between going back and forth between watching the birds and finding old David Letterman clips from the 1980s, that pretty much got me through my week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be really good at this if this were my day gig and I was self-employed, totally reliant on my ability to work in a timely fashion and not have really awful ADD, I'd starve.
Right.
But yeah, so there's that. I also, this is my, side gig, but for those who want to listen to more of this, they can find the Snark Factor on Apple Podcasts. And also, I'm about ready to leave here to do Eat, Drink, Smoke, which is Tony Katz's podcast, and you can catch that over at Apple Podcasts as well. So, for Tracy, I'm Fingers. We'll be back soon with an all new Enough Already.